In today's education news, could we be seeing the end of testing at primary school? Probably not, because it would mean actually listening and trusting teachers, even though most teachers don't find Key Stage 2 results data useful. Head teacher leaders have urged ministers to review national tests after a government teacher survey showed that most respondents did not think Key Stage 2 SATs provided useful data to help students start in secondary school. And it's only taken, how long I've been teaching? 17, 18 years now for them to realise that. So the DfE asked teachers to what extent they agreed or disagreed that Key Stage 2 SATs provide information that is useful to them when identifying the support that new Year 7 pupils will need. And to absolutely no one's surprise, the majority of secondary school teachers responded to that question saying they did not agree. Because we all know that primary schools are under so much unnecessary pressure to get the best results possible, so do everything in their power to get those results, whether that includes narrowing the curriculum or, cheating. And those results are inflated. So when the secondary school teachers get them, look at these results and go, wow, look at this. These children are going to be really able, meet the children who don't even know their own name. What secondary school teachers do is just scrap those SATs results and do their own assessments anyway. So the data showed that 28% disagreed, saying the results were useful. A further 25% strongly disagreed. Less than a quarter of teachers agreed that it's useful. 21% agreeing, 3% strongly agreeing. I'll make it clear, I'm not saying it's just because of the league tables and the pressure schools are under that make these Key Stage 2 assessments pointless. Don't get me wrong, if we were to scrap league tables, I think they're one of the worst things because it takes what is an innately collaborative job of teaching and pits schools against each other when they're trying to get the best results. That doesn't help anyone. I also think the tests themselves are absolutely flawed. The SATs tests that cost a whopping 26 million a year, by the way. Think about how many glue sticks that could get you. But I did make a video the other day about how ridiculous the mark scheme is and how some of the answers are almost designed to catch kids out. Because in one question, the answer has to be someone to help you learn. And if you put someone to help you, you don't get the mark for that. Ridiculous. The survey also cast doubts on the statutory phonics screening check and multiplication times table checks carried out in primary school. And if you add in the baseline tests in EYFS, that means there are only Year 2 if you choose not to do the Key Stage 1 SATs. That is optional now. So Year 2, Year 3 and Year 5 where you are not doing some sort of national assessment. Yeah, 39% of primary school teachers disagree that phonics screening check is useful to them when identifying the support needed by pupils they teach. Now that's not to say that the teaching of phonics isn't useful, just the actual test. And 4 in 10 teachers did not agree that the times tables check provided information that was useful to them. Because look, that's the point of assessment. It should then help inform your teaching to plug gaps, to support the students. They're not. They're a stick to beat schools with. That's all they are. It states here, phonics and times tables are taught throughout the curriculum, and it is during the day-to-day teaching that schools will genuinely identify and target support where it is needed. They don't need a test that costs millions. Times tables cost £1.6 million to do this times tables test. Ms Harris also said that I'm sure most, if not all, teachers and parents would agree with, Key Stage 2 tests in particular need to be looked at again as they're not working well as either a measure of school performance or a way of supporting children. They don't support children. They put children over so much unnecessary pressure, and it's going to be really interesting to see what the DfE do off the back of this, because when Bridget Phillipson came into post, she said what she wanted to do as Education Secretary is really bridge the gap between government and teachers. And I think this would be the perfect way of doing it, by actually listening to what teachers are saying, showing trust in teachers as professionals to assess how they think is best. You can just get rid of league tables because they don't benefit anyone, and just force schools to play the game of getting the best results to the detriment of children's learning. And think, when £50 million a year is being spent on these tests, how else could that money be used to better impact children's outcomes?